Hi, good afternoon. Andrew here, back to Health Wellness. I hope you're well. Today I'm going to talk about compensation, not car compensation or any other type of compensation other than postural compensation. We're going to talk about how the body has to tolerate wearing a handbag, how it does it, how it compensates to counter the effect of it, or the backpack. I'm going to show you a bit more of the mechanics of how the spine moves whilst using a handbag and a backpack. So hopefully this will be a bit more engaging, hopefully shed a bit more understanding and light on how the body endures day to day. All right, so first we're going to talk about using a handbag. So we're going to have it on the right shoulder for the purpose of this demonstration. So now, typically, depending on the load of the bag, I think most people will chuck in all sorts of things into their handbag, and relative is quite heavy. Particularly when I pick up my wife's one, I think, oh my God, how is she carrying this around? But usually she won't feel it as heavy because her body would have tolerated this load for such a long time that it becomes a normal thing. So me holding it, I can feel how heavy it is. But anyway, I'm not going to carry this around the whole day. So it's for the purpose of this video. So let's see. So now, as the shoulder is resting, so as the bag is resting on the shoulder, I should say, depending on the weight that the shoulder or the spine has to go through to tolerate the weight. So, for example, say the bag is heavy, the spine will naturally bend more off towards. I'm bending to the right, but the spine, as you can see, bends to the left, and then obviously to the top half it goes off towards the right. In order to tolerate, the body will then compensate on the opposite side, typically on the left side, and there'll be a shortening of muscles, countering the force and the load that it's having to tolerate. So to compensate, it will again try and work on the opposite side to counter that. May over counter depending on the strength of the tissues and that chain, or maybe just not enough, in which case then we get stuck in this chronic state where the tissues will just about tolerate the weight, hang on, you could say, or the spine will just hang on, tissues around it will just endure the load until it cannot anymore, and then you might notice some form of back pain or issues elsewhere. The load that you carry will also have a massive impact. If it's just a few things, then typically the body will endure, and it can. But if the load is great, and of course we don't just hold the handbag and stand in one place, we will maneuver, and obviously all those muscles that are focusing on stabilizing the spine during movement will also be aware of this load, and then of course they would have to find a way to tolerate the load and allow us to move at the same time. So yeah, typical scenarios: handbag on one shoulder and spine bends to compensate and counters it. If we were to switch round and try the other side, for example, for me, I should actually say, for me, this is my typical stance. If I'm going to carry anything, it would be on my right shoulder. So the spine generally moves better off to the left, and it can tolerate greater load before it, starts to have to compensate to alter and counter. Now, on the opposite side, for me, my spinal pattern, typically we'll find this a bit awkward, which is why we never really switch between sides. We often stick to one side. The practical gave you a bit more insight into how the spine might move, how it deals with postural compensation. Give you a bit more insight into my pattern, but more importantly, how your body is tolerating, how your spine is tolerating your day to day. There's a saying, in sight, in mind, and it's the same in mind and in body. So if you keep everything in mind, then your body will respond favorably. All the very best. See you around.